Welcome everybody to our webinar. Just a couple of quick notes before we get started. On the toolbar there is a question box. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them there. Also, this webinar is being archived and everyone will receive a copy of the webinar and the PowerPoint presentation within an hour or so of it being done. And with that, Jenna, go ahead.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is Jenna Sword, and today we're going to talk about creating visual presentations. You can learn a little bit more about me on my website at createthunder.com, where I have my graphic design portfolio and a really fun, edgy blog. And I'm also in the process of developing an info product to help entrepreneurs learn how to brand themselves. It's called Launch Your Brand in 14 Days. There's information about that on my website as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So in this webinar, you'll learn more about your instructor, which is me, and some topics that are going to be covered in this course. As you can see, I'm on the left-hand side giving you a thumbs up. And we'll have some Q&A time at the very end. So, hello, my name is Jenna Sword, and I used to be a senior graphic designer at Nike. It's kind of my claim to fame with all the cool techniques that I learned from working there. I've kind of applied to my business and helping entrepreneurs and higher education people apply towards their organizations and businesses. I currently teach for 3 universities, including the University of Oregon, and University of Oregon is actually also my alma mater. And it's a kind of a funny story. I ended up winning a design award through Learn and met somebody who worked for the University of Oregon, and they hired me to come back and teach there. And so I teach classes in branding, design, and entrepreneurship. So I'm super excited to be working with Learn as well because it's an amazing organization, and I'm very excited to show you a little bit of a preview of what the class is going to be like. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, this is a pretty good example of bad design. So through the course, we look at what makes bad design. What are the things that are missing here? Because we see a lot more bad design than we see good design. And if you understand what makes for good design, it's a lot easier to avoid pitfalls and traps like this poor person did on their blog. All right. It's also important to take a look at what makes for good design. So we would go through exercises where we would actually take a look at really basic design principles like repetition, seeing the things like the background of the site is sort of repeating with the little design elements that are in the navigation. We would take a look at proximity, which means, grouping similar items together. And as you can see here, the navigation is grouped together, or different sections of the website are grouped together to show that they're related. So these are the kinds of things that we get into. So as you start to identify what these principles are, you can start to apply them to things like your visual presentation. So contrast is another principle we cover. Noticing here, just as a quick example, how it says an award-winning creative team, and notice how it's so much bigger than the copy underneath it. That contrast is a very easy way for the audience to be able to identify what that group of information is about. But if this headline was the same exact size as the copy below, or just a tiny bit bigger, it would be harder to tell what the information is about, and it wouldn't look as polished as it does. So these little sorts of tricks are some of the things that totally apply also to visual presentations on how to organize your slides and how to communicate effectively with things like headlines. We also take a look at alignment and creating a direct relationship with everything else on the page. So you can see here there's an invisible vertical line connecting the logo to the 2 boxes of information below. You can also see on the right-hand side the navigation is connected on a vertical imaginary line as well. So again, going through and training the eye on what makes for good design allows you to create good design and also identify if you're working with a designer who knows what they're doing or just it really takes it to that professional level that a lot of people who don't know these principles cannot do. Then we also take a look at concept and theme. So concept being, the core message of your presentation and picking an appropriate theme that supports that. And so we could say for this website, we are a creative web design company and the theme of it is Aurora Borealis. And so when a theme is chosen, it actually makes it really easy to decide on stylistically, images to use, typefaces to use, so on and so forth. So it's all about, coming up with a great concept and then having a great supportive theme to bring it all together. Another really fun thing that we do in this class is we work with mood boards and Pinterest. Now this was a little trick that I learned at Nike, getting into the head of the ideal target and kind of thinking about the situation that your audience is in and creating a visual presentation to kind of be morphed around that. And so this is a really great way to take that visual theme that you're going to decide on and go in and choose images on Pinterest to get an idea of aesthetic and take a look at trends. So as we can see in this particular mood board I did for a client, I was doing a really fun, fashionable, edgy website, and I was tapping into the mind of the person who was the ideal target. So most of the students I've talked to about doing this activity, they just absolutely love it because you get to look at a lot of really cool artwork and you get to pull inspiration for getting ideas. And just to give you a quick example here, we can kind of see a trend here of neon lights as a font. And so I could show you where to go find a font that looks like a neon light. So it really kind of takes you through this great process of being able to figure out what kind of images to use, what kind of fonts to use. So this ends up being sort of a crash course in graphic design and branding and how this applies to visual presentations. Taking this one step further, instead of just randomly picking colors for your presentation, we actually use free color picker sources where we take your mood board, we put it into a color picker, and then it helps pick out the exact sort of color scheme that would look awesome in your presentation. So as you can see here, I just uploaded this quick screenshot of the mood board, and this program totally created this really cool color scheme, which is great. So the last part of this is how to create content and deliver. And so we end the course with a video about how to add interactivity into your presentations. We also take a look at some TED Talks that increase inspiration because, TED is an amazing organization with world famous speakers, and I found an amazing TED Talk to really help you piece together the kind of content, how to pace it, how to deliver, and in combination with my own perspective on how to increase interactivity through your presentations. So it's a pretty awesome course. By the end of it, we do a great critique with, I'm guiding the students the entire way, giving feedback with every assignment, and then we do our final critique at the end. And so you get a lot of interaction with your fellow peers and you get interaction with me. And through those critiques is where really great stuff happens because you kind of have to get out a lot of bad ideas first before you can get to the really good ones. And when people tell you, don't use that font or you're distorting that picture or something and you can fix it, it's amazing how fast you can actually come up with some very professional looking materials, including visual presentations. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for attending. Do you have any questions or comments? I'm going to go ahead and open this up so I can see.
Just a reminder, everybody, you can post questions for Jenna on the toolbar, on your the bar that says questions. Go ahead and post them there. Well, Jenna, I'm not seeing any questions, so with that, thank you for your presentation. If anyone has any questions, please email us at info@learn.org. Or Jenna, was your email address there at the beginning?
It isn't, but I can tell you it's jenna@createthunder.com.
Okay.
And I would love to see you guys in my class. It's going to be really fun. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye now.